Okay, let's look at a related rate problem that deals with a triangle, a right triangle. So here we have a couple of aircraft and they're approaching the same point. They're approaching a point right here. And so they're flying in the air at the same height. Airplane A is flying east at 250 miles per hour. Now, that gives us the rate of change of this distance right here. So let me call this distance x, and I'll call this distance here y. So what we've been given is that the distance x is changing at a rate of 250 miles per hour. Now, it also tells us that this other plane, B, is flying at 300 miles per hour. And now notice, though, this distance is decreasing, so I better make that a negative. You got to catch that. That's a place where you can easily make a mistake. As you can see, I almost did. So now this is going to be negative 300. So what we're doing is we're looking at how their distance is changing, the distance to this point right here. And that distance is definitely decreasing. Okay? So it's not that they're going in reverse or anything, but we're thinking about the distance, that length. And that length is not getting bigger. Whenever you are measuring something that's getting bigger, it has a positive derivative. So x is getting smaller, y is getting smaller. Okay, if they are both heading at the same to the same airport, which is right here, located 30 miles east of airplane A. Okay, so we're taking a snapshot. We're saying, okay, it's 30 miles east of airplane A and 40 miles north of airplane B. So we're saying this is 40 right here. At what rate is the distance between the airplanes changing? Okay, we want to know at what rate is this hypotenuse over here changing when we take this snapshot, when plane A is 30 miles out and when plane B is 40 miles out. That's what we're looking at. So we're looking for a way to relate this hypotenuse over here, which I'll call C, to the other two sides of this triangle. Well, what you might think about is x squared plus y squared is equal to c squared. Yeah, so there we have x and y and c and how they're related. Now I differentiate. So I've got 2x, and let me just call this x prime and just understand that's dx dt. And then we've got 2y, y prime, equals 2c, c prime. And I've got 2's throughout, so let me just divide by 2. I've got x prime, plus y prime, equals c prime. Now let's think about what we've been given here. We've been given that x is 30, so let's just substitute in things. I've got 30 for x. X prime is negative 250. And I'll just drop the units, put those in later. Plus y is 40. And y prime is negative 300. And that equals c prime. Now remember, what we're trying to do is solve and find c prime. At this instant, when plane A is 30 miles out, plane B is 40 miles out, but we don't know what c is. But you realize we could use Pythagorean Theorem. 30 squared plus 40 squared equals c squared. And this is a Pythagorean triple. So we know that c is equal to 50, because this is a 3, 4, 5 right triangle, but I multiplied everything by 10. So what we have is, we have 50 times c prime. And now all we have to do is solve this equation for c prime, which is pretty easy. So we got c prime is equal to 30 times negative 250 plus 40 times negative 300 all over 50. Yeah, there we go. Now, I think what I want to do is just go ahead and simplify this, divide 50 into each of those terms up top. So 50, so here's what we've got. I'm going to divide 50 into this first term and the second term. So 250 will go into, 50 will go into 250. Here we go. Let's see here. We've got 30 times. Let's see here. That's going to be 5 times, right? And I'll put the negative out here. Okay. Then we've got over here, let me put the negative out here again, 40. 300 divided by 50. Well, that will go 6 times. Okay, so there we go, 6 like that. Okay, so we're on a roll now. Now let's see here what we've got. We've got C prime is equal to negative 150 plus negative 240. So that's negative. I left off the negative there. So let me just write it this way. Negative 240. Okay, well now all we have to do is a little arithmetic here. Let's see here. We got C prime equals, that's going to be a negative 390 miles per hour.